What is going on, everyone? Tutorial Tim here, and today I have another video for you. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to use a Chrome plugin that is for Figma. It's called Linksistent, and it allows you to essentially provide links and structure everything in an easy manner, linking all your files, whether it's design or research or project documentation. This tool is great as a resource not only for designers, but also for PMs and engineers to have the ability to quickly access certain up-to-date links for prototypes, other visual design, such as designs in review, things of that nature. And there is a template that you can duplicate here. I have the link available in the description. Go ahead and click duplicate on that, and what we're going to do is essentially copy the primary contents and then take that over to the file where we want to reference links. So what you'll need to do and identify is wherever you're going to be using this plugin, you'll need to go ahead and access the Figma team. And one thing to note is that you'll need to be a part of the team as a viewer and have those view permissions at the very least. And here you can see that I have this team in Figma. I'm going to go ahead and jump into this on my browser. I have this already opened up. It's in my drafts currently, but what we can do is I'm going to go back to my files. I'm going to click on my test Figma team. And in my test Figma team, if I go ahead and look at the URL, I'm going to need to grab this number. So you see this URL where it says team, and then the path after that is this number. We're going to need to copy this number, and then I have another link in the description that will link you to this plugin. So here I already have it. I'm going to go ahead and remove it to do this step by step with you. I'm going to add it to Chrome, click add extension, and then we can go ahead and click on this extensions icon and go ahead and pin that so it's easily accessible, and then we can click it. And then what you're going to want to do is click on connect Linksistent with Figma, and then it will prompt you on whether you should allow access or not, and you're going to need to click on allow access to Linksistent, and it'll take you directly to the instructions. And with the team ID that we just copied from our Figma file via the browser, I click Command C to copy that there. We can go ahead and now open our plugin. We have Linksistent open. I'm going to go ahead and add that team ID, and I'm going to click add. So now what this has done is linked my team, and basically now it understands that it can basically scrape the data in this team and these projects. So how does it know what to reference? So essentially what you see here is that there's the Save Design team. If I click on it, it'll load, and then from the team, it'll take you directly to the projects associated with that team, but it will only recognize those projects that have this structure. So what is the structure I'm talking about? So if we go ahead and I grab kind of the design, the template that we duplicated online, it has the guidance on how to set this up, and it breaks down everything in depth. And I'm going to go ahead and show you kind of everything to get you from point A to point B, and how to manipulate that data and those links. And what we can do is click on landing page here and copy that frame, and don't rename the structure. Everything's as needed. You can rename it to an extent, but you'll need to keep the mandatory Linksistent naming convention here. And then there's some optional references here for you to build out this layout, and I'll show you more of that in a second. So now that we have that frame copy, I'm gonna go back to my browser. And just essentially paste that into whatever file you want to have this resource in. And once you have that, we can go ahead and click on the plugin. And if I go ahead and click on the plugin and I click test Figma team, because this is grabbing because I grabbed the team ID for my test Figma team, which was this number we put in here in the plugin, and then click on test Figma team, and it recognizes that I have a landing page design. So how did it recognize that? Well, the reason it was recognized is because it found it in this file under my design system project within that team. So if I click on that icon, I go to my projects, I can manage them. I can view all the teams I'm associated with in this plugin. One thing that's important to note is that this can only support one team right now, and you will need to have view access in order to have this plugin working. So the designer, from a designer standpoint, they'll need to have this page, this frame pasted into whatever page it is that they want to have this in Figma that's most relevant for you and your team. And then you'll notice that if an error occurs, you just have to reload it. It'll reload and recognize it because I did remove it. So for example, we have this loading page here. If I go back to design team and I click here, it's currently there. It's named landing page here. So we can rename this name of the section. So if I go ahead and go back to my plugin here and I click on test Figma team, it'll update the naming convention based off of what I named the frame after the hashtag Linksistent in basically the second portion of the path here, specified by that slash convention. So if I go ahead and remove this and I go back to my plugin and I click test Figma team, it's going to throw an error because it couldn't find any project. And that's not to say that there isn't a project in your team. It's just that there isn't this design here specified with this context. And because the plugin's going to be looking for that, so ensure that you have that already from the get-go, and this template. And then if we go back to the plugin here, we see the team, and it'll reload and recognize that this Linksistent is the helper page is there. So in this scenario here, we basically structured this plugin to have a bunch of resources. So let's go ahead and change this back to landing page. So let's just say we had some sort of design here that was specified, and this was our desired design, and we wanted to share that with not only designers, but have this as a resource for PMs and engineers to see through our plugin. We can go ahead and specify the name of the page here, which is landing page, and we can specify this section as design. And these are already Figma links, but we can modify those links. So let's say this was a link to our prototype. So I'm going to click share and ensure that this checkbox is enabled and copy this link, because I want people to be able to view the prototype. So I need to add that link here. And what that does in the plugin is that allows anyone accessing this to view the actual, copy the link to your clipboard and here, and then once you click on it, it'll take you to the link you've specified. So that's something really awesome about this plugin. And we can even go ahead and modify the name. Modifying the name here. If I modify that name and I go back to the plugin, it'll reload and it'll notice that I don't have a link on that anymore because I modified the text, so I need to re-add a link. So I can go ahead and do that in Figma by just hitting, inserting a link here, clicking on the text, creating a link, and then I can paste this Figma link in there and then hit escape. And now I have a link, and it actually takes me to this frame. So if I go back to the Figma plugin, it'll reload. And since it knows it's taking me to a frame, we might need to specify another link. So let's go to linksistent.com, grab that URL or any other desired URL that you need, and go ahead and modify that link, paste that in there, and now you have that URL. Go ahead and open that plugin again, and it'll reload, and now you'll notice that it is an accessible link. So you'll see that you can copy it to your clipboard, or you can click on it directly and it'll open it up in a new tab. So we could even do like facebook.com, for example, although I don't have an account there. They steal all your data. And then I can change that to a link linking me to Facebook. And then I can go ahead and double check on my plugin, and I can click on it, and you'll notice that it now opens in a new tab to Facebook. So you can see that this updates in essentially real time. Everything is quickly easy to modify, so to speak, and you can go ahead and we could even probably rearrange these categories if needed. So there I just switched it, and I can go to my plugin, and you'll notice that it updates the structure of your layout and the resources you're trying to access. So you can start to see how powerful this is as a tool to really organize your own content, not only for designers but also engineers, other project managers, or product managers or engineering managers. They can all see this in an organized fashion. You see how easy that is to kind of move these elements around. Since auto layout's already built in, I can just use my arrow keys to modify things. I can even remove menu items, and I can go ahead and check this plugin, and it will update that as reflected in the design, which is fantastic and very powerful. So those are the basics of Linksistent. Just make sure you have that team ID. Another important thing to note is that everyone using this extension needs to have view permissions at a minimum, and the advantages of this is the ability to create your list anywhere within the team and within any project. And one thing to note is that you may want to isolate this resource for linking content within your page into its own file, so that way when this is scraping your team's projects and files via the API on the back end, long story short, it'll quickly be grabbed and scraped essentially, and it'll basically be able to scan your content much easier. You'll notice that I just duplicated this project several times, and just to show you kind of the power of Linksistent and how you can dynamically modify your content, add these new projects, and then implement new resources with links that you can share with others. And you can also set it up to where have a light and dark mode view, and that is extremely powerful and pretty much everything I have to show you today, folks. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Those are all the major talking points. So just one thing I'd recommend is maybe even going over the guidance again from the template, even to even more depth, because there are other layout variations that you can apply to Linksistent. It's a fantastic resource made by Samuel Droll, good friend of mine. Please do go check him out on Twitter as well. I hope you found this useful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.